Are investors a bit too pessimistic about some of these Asian markets where you could find them a bit cheap in terms of valuations?
Yeah, I mean, I see value in certain markets. Think about one in Korea, the Asia Tech universe. I'm just a little bit worried that we might not be completely there yet. We need to see a couple of other things coming through, earnings cuts, and maybe some guidance on what happens with demand, in particular in the US. In the course of the next couple of weeks or so. And value can be found anywhere in Asia almost. China in particular, I think, looks rather interesting as well. Valuations are rather low there. Things starting to pick up in China a little bit as well.
Are all of the bad news though priced in, whether it's global central bank tightening or just more regulatory crackdowns?
Well, with regulatory crackdowns, we don't know. We will have to see how that's going to develop. My own suggestion is probably we're not going to see as much. They're really into trying to recover, in particular, the property market at the moment. It seems like we've seen most of the regulatory crackdown in China internet as well. So in that sense, we might have seen the worst. On the front of global central banks and raising interest rates, that will continue probably. But bond yields and bond markets are already looking towards, well, maybe they'll have to ease into 2023. So that's somewhat supportive as well. So it's really about demand actually for products. So the upcoming results season, that's kind of, so statements such as from Walmart or Apple, get a bit of an idea of sell through. That will be quite important for us. That's where I would focus on.
The dollar strength starting to recede, Herald. How much of an uplift does that give to Asian equity markets?
That is quite important, actually. A stronger dollar is simply just not good for Asian equities. If that would somehow turn, and we're not necessarily in the house, my Forex colleagues believe that there might be a little bit further strength to go. But if we prove to be wrong, and for example, the dollar would weaken, that would be quite positive for Asian equities. So that's something we nearly have to watch as well.
How strong is the consumer, particularly when you're talking about the Chinese consumer, given that we're seeing some of these signs of demand weakness? You're seeing Apple cutting prices, albeit, just by $90, but still it is a pretty huge symbolic shift, right? Does the property crisis that we see in China have implications for household wealth and the resilience of the consumer there?
Absolutely. And the story is just not really good. I mean, confidence, people are just not confident to buy property at the moment. People have sometimes lost money in either property companies or property projects. The stock market hasn't done so well. Of course, they've been in lockup periods as well. That hasn't necessarily helped either. So consumer confidence is not very strong. Maybe it's on the margin improving here, but it is not really good. And that explains also the low valuations that we have in large parts of Asia, including in China. The question is, will it be stronger in, say, 12 months' time or not? And if we do see, kind of diminished return of lockdowns, we see that maybe the property market starts to slowly recover a little bit. It might well be that on the margin it's going to be a little bit better in about a year's time, and therefore the valuations would be a little bit higher in some of these sectors as well.
Are we going to see recovery in the memory sector as well? I know that you said you like Taiwan and Korea as well in terms of investors being too underweight in those markets.
Yeah, well, investors are too underweight, and we're still a little bit cautious on tech in general, Asia hardware tech I'm talking about, so that's DRAM and foundry and all these sort of things, because of the sell-through that we see in the US is just not really strong. So I think a little bit further earnings cuts might have to come through there. But if you're really significantly underweight that particular sector, you've got to be careful, because it could well be that we're very close to a bit of a bottom here. I wouldn't be surprised over the next couple of months or so that we see that sector really starting to offer good value. Now, and if DRAM would recover, now that's something that we've been hoping for maybe in the latter part or early part of next calendar year or so. That could be a signal that that sector suddenly is going to perform much better. So I don't really think it's the time to really jump in yet, but you're gonna be ready to do so and not be too cautious on that sector either.